It's Wednesday, January 6th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you the latest local news. Later in the show, we'll hear from Jim Cameron, who's going to make some transportation predictions for 2016. Rob Adams will join us with local sports and weather, and we'll take a look back on this day in history with Donald Ang. But first, on to some of the stories we're following today. 6 people were transported to the hospital yesterday after a chemical spill at a Trumbull office. Trumbull EMS and fire crews from Long Hill, Trumbull Center, and Nichols responded to a small chemical spill inside a Corporate Drive dentist's office around 11:30 yesterday morning. First responders evaluated 15 people on the scene and transported 6 of them to local hospitals as a precaution. Approximately an ounce of formocresol spilled, causing a strong odor. This product is a disinfectant solution used as part of endodontic treatment. The fire department consulted with the state's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and Fairfield County's Hazardous Incident Response Team. The crews ventilated the space, and the employees were able to reoccupy the building. And an emotional President Barack Obama Tuesday wiped away tears while talking about gun violence, including the 20 children killed in December 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting in Newtown. Mark Barden, who lost his 7-year-old son Daniel at Sandy Hook, introduced the president, who announced executive orders he said are aimed at reducing gun violence. According to the Connecticut Mirror, Connecticut lawmakers will help President Obama roll out these new gun control initiatives that will broaden FBI background checks of gun buyers and anger Republican members of Congress who say the president has overstepped his authority. Among those supporters of the president are Senator Chris Murphy, who attended the White House briefing on the president's plans Monday afternoon. Senator Richard Blumenthal and U.S. Representative Elizabeth Esty were among more than a dozen Democrats invited to the briefing. Obama will use his executive authority to broaden FBI background checks of potential gun buyers to include sales at gun shows and by individuals over the internet, which are now excluded. The Connecticut Mirror says that the president will not fully close what's been called the gun show loophole. Current federal law requires those engaged in the business of dealing firearms to obtain a federal license that requires them to conduct background checks of their customers, but the law exempts anyone who makes occasional sales, exchanges, or purchases of firearms for the enhancement of a personal collection or for a hobby. You can get more information on that at connecticutmirror.org. And this in from our Westchester County paper, the Lewisboro Ledger. The New York State Police have arrested 2 men for stealing $30,000 worth of hay from the Colley estate in North Salem while investigating the murder of Lois Colley. Police arrested the 2 North Salem residents, Angel Pera Penafel and Hugo Ramirez Morales, on January 3rd and charged them with grand larceny after discovering the duo had been stealing and selling the hay from the Colley family's windswept farm over the past several years. Police said that both men were employed at Windswept Farm as laborers. The 2 men were brought before Judge John Aronian in the town of North Salem court and remained in Westchester County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bonds. Pera Penafiel and Ramirez Morales are scheduled to return to court on January 11th. Lois Colley, the wife of wealthy McDonald's franchise owner Eugene Colley, died on November 9th from blunt force trauma to the head. The police have not made a connection between the larceny and Colley's death. Anyone with information about her death is asked to call their investigation unit at 914-277-3177. You can follow that story at lewisboroledger.com. And back in Connecticut, according to Wilton police, about $3,500 in cash was stolen from a lockbox in the closet of a bedroom of a home at 176 Ridgefield Road. There was no evidence of forced entry and there are no suspects at this time, police said. The incident is suspected to have occurred on December 27th and is still under investigation. Anyone with information is encouraged to call Wilton police at 203-834-6260. And in New Canaan, on January 4th, around 6 in the evening, police were called to a home on Richmond Hill Road, told by the homeowner that a man who appeared drunk had entered the house without permission and started climbing the stairs to the second floor. The owner said he confronted the man, a Bridgeport resident, escorted him back down to the living room and called police. The man then ran out of the house as police arrived, but was caught in the parking lot of Walgreens on Pine Street. The man said he couldn't find his car and had entered the house looking for someone to help him. Police issued the man an infraction for trespassing. And in Ridgefield, calls to police of gunshots from Woodland Way residents late Monday night turned out to be fireworks, police said. The Ridgefield Press tweeted the report just before 11 in the evening, but Captain Jeffrey Kreitz, spokesman for the Ridgefield Police Department, said officers responded to an initial call and several others followed by that. By about 2 in the morning, after a call of gunshots on Mountain Road, it was clear the noises were caused by fireworks. Evidence of the fireworks was found, Kreitz said. Mountain Road and Woodland Way are way off Limestone Road and Bennett's Farm Road, but police believe that those calls were also related to fireworks. And in Reading, one of the athletic fields could be turned into a public skating rink in the winter of 2017 if town officials agree with the Park and Recreation proposal to add it to its upcoming year's budget. Parks and Recreation Director Rob Blick said Tuesday that there are some costs associated with the skating rink and there are a few other things that still need to be worked out, but they'd like to present the idea to selectmen. He told the Reading Pilot that the Parks and Recreation Commission is in favor of it, but they haven't presented it yet. The rink would potentially be installed over athletic fields 2 and 3 near the Reading Community Center. The Park and Recreation Director plans to present the idea to the Board of Selectmen on Friday during its annual budget workshop. But we're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for a look at today's weather. Rob?
Thanks, Kate. Good morning, everyone. A sunny day, high near 39, 20, and 30. It feels positively tropical compared to yesterday. Yes, indeed, I reached for the shorts. Southwest wind from 6 to 8. Tonight, mostly clear, low 20. To Thursday, sunny and a high near 42. Wind chill values again between 20 and 30 degrees. To Thursday night, partly cloudy, low 23. Friday is mostly sunny. You think today's tropical? Try Friday. 41 for the high. Holy moly, let's hit the beach. Chance of rain and sleet mainly after 10 Friday night, mostly cloudy, low 34. To Saturday, a chance of light rain, mostly cloudy and a high near 44. We're looking at rain likely and 53 on Sunday, and sunny and 40 as we get back to work next week. Right around our region now, Ridgefield has 30, Stamford 32, and right here in Shelton, 29 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Dang's going to take a look back on this day in history. Rob's going to have the latest in local sports, and we have some more headlines coming up after this.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Discover the Wilburton Inn in Manchester, Vermont, a 30-acre historic estate featuring a turn-of-the-century mansion with elegant inn guest rooms and 7 large private vacation homes, perfect for ski vacations and holiday celebrations. Special offer on select rooms and houses. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free through Christmas Day. CNN has called the Wilburton one of the top 8 mansion hotels in America. Call 802-362-2500 or visit wilburtoninn.com for more information.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
And we're back on this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, it was a fine vision of eternal goals that the UN was actually founded on, but in actual practice, it lasted less than a year. But first we go to 1838. Alfred Vail demonstrates a telegraph system using dots and dashes, a forerunner of Morse code. In fact, some say it should have been called Vail code, but Vail himself credits the final version to his former partner, Samuel Morse. 1912 we go. German physicist Alfred Wegener first presents the theory of continental drift. The hypothesis was controversial at the time and not accepted until the 1950s, when numerous discoveries such as paleomagnetism provided strong support for continental drift and thereby a substantial basis for today's model of plate tectonics. 1974. In response to the 1973 oil crisis, daylight saving time commences 4 months early. Clocks would remain set forward until October, 10 months of that year actually, were daylight saving time. To 1994 we go. Nancy Kerrigan, figure skater, clubbed on the knee at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Detroit by a man who'd been hired by rival Tanya Harding's husband. We remember, of course, her philosophical questioning of why such things happen to people. 7 weeks later, she won the silver medal at the Lillehammer, Norway Olympics, though a series of unscripted comments caught on camera, including insults of gold medalist Oksana Bayul and Mickey Mouse, soon eroded her public image. And finally, we go to 1941. Oh, there was this.
The first is freedom of speech and expression everywhere in the world. The second is freedom of every person to worship God in his own way everywhere in the world. The third is freedom from want, which translated into world terms means economic understandings which will secure to every nation a healthy, peacetime life for its inhabitants everywhere in the world. The fourth is freedom from fear, which translated into world terms means a worldwide reduction.
And that was President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's State of the Union speech of 1941, in which he unveiled what he called the 4 freedoms that all humans inherently had a right to, including freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. The theme was later incorporated into the Charter of the United Nations and memorialized in a series of 4 1943 Norman Rockwell paintings. The 4 freedoms presented on this date of 1941, that is your look back in history, and I am Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, staying a little bit on the historical theme and getting into some local celebrity news, Wilton High graduate and 2016 Golden Globe nominee Paul Dano will star in an upcoming miniseries called War and Peace, premiering Monday, January 18th. Screenwriter and novelist Andrew Davies wrote the episode adaptation of Leo Tolstoy's 1869 novel of the same name. Set during the reign of Alexander I and Russia's wars with Napoleon, the story revolves around the life, love, and loss experienced by 3 young aristocrats. Pierre Bezukhov, played by Dano, Natasha Rostova, played by Screen Actors Guild Award-winning actress Lily James, and Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, played by multi-award-winning actor James Norton. Dano graduated from Wilton High in 2002. He was the guitarist and did lead vocals in the Wilton-based rock band Mook with fellow Wilton High alumni keyboardist Dan Krager, drummer Chris Johnson, and bass player Rob Bruce. Winner of numerous awards, the 31-year-old Dano has been nominated for a 2016 Golden Globe for his role as young Beach Boys songwriter and musician Brian Wilson in the biographical film Love and Mercy. His latest film, Youth, is currently out in theaters. The series will air on the A&E Network, Lifetime, and History Channel on January 18th. All right, it is time to check in with Rob Adams for the latest on local news, local sports. Sorry, Rob.
News, sports, whatever you
yeah,
want to
it's the same.
Kate, we'll take it from here. Thank you very much, and good morning once again, everyone. You know, it's like the same story from yesterday on Nutmeg Sports. Here we go. Norwalk and Trinity Catholic played a spirited basketball game last night. So let's put it first on the floor. The game took place in Norwalk to open the FC Ac Boys basketball season, but unfortunately it's not entirely the on-court action that will be remembered. The Crusaders grabbed the 12-point win, 76-64, but an altercation between Norwalk parents and Trinity students spilled onto the court, according to John Nash at the Norwalk Hour. One student wound up with a cut hand, and Scott Erickson of the Stamford Advocate tweeted a picture of blood on the floor of the gym. As for the game itself, Dimitri Moyes had 25 to lead the Crusaders, who improved to 3-1 on the year. Norwalk dropped to 0-4. We'll see the Bears as they take on the Danbury Hatters tomorrow night. As you're getting a look at the scoreboard, McMahon over Darien 66-63. Jack Moorhead 27. Trumbull beat Staples 58-45. It took overtime for Greenwich to get by St. Joe's by 9, 75-66. Connor Harkins had 28 for Big Red. Ridgefield 61 and Ludlow 43. It was also Fairfield Ward over Bridgeport Central 91-55. Stamford beat New Canaan 52-37. Ward, as I mentioned, with a win, and outside of that, Brunswick over Harvey 59-35. Let's turn to girls basketball now. And Alyssa Bruning had 13 in the win. Trumbull beat Staples 49-27. Stamford by 20 over New Canaan 36-16. Abby Wolf explodes for 30. Greenwich over St. Joseph 57-51. Ward over Central 54-25. Isaiah Knight had 16 for the Bears as Norwalk beat Trinity Catholic 56-34. Ludlow 64. Ridgefield 56. Kelly Marl had 14. Danbury over McMahon 41-20. Darien 41, McMahon 20, and Danbury by 16 over West Hill, 42-26. From girls ice hockey, Greenwich beat the Co-op of Trumbull and St. Joe's 5-2. 5 different scorers for the Cardinals in their win over the Cadets. And West Hill in wrestling beat Staples 56-24. Big schedule tonight. We've got Harding and Trinity Catholic at 7 o'clock this evening in girls basketball to get things started. Boys ice hockey, it's Trumbull at North Branford, St. Joseph at Notre Dame of West Haven. That should be a pretty good one. That's a 4 o'clock game today. Notre Dame of West Haven will be without a player from the altercation that took place on Monday night against Darien. Horace Greeley of New York comes to Danbury to take on Bethel Brookfield Danbury at 4:30. Staples, Weston, Shelton. This is the longest game of the day, so sit back for a minute. Staples, Weston, Shelton is at NFA, St. B, Bacon, Stonington, Lyman Memorial. Those are 2 co-op teams. That's at 5 o'clock. Hall and Southington at Trinity Catholic. Ward Ludlow home for Daniel Hand. Guilford at West Hill. Stamford. New Canaan home for Ridgefield. John Jay of New York is at Wilton. And Greenwich at Rye Country Day of New York. In girls ice hockey, it's New Canaan at Ridgefield. Darien at Stamford. Laurelton Hall at Wilton. Boys wrestling, McMahon at Wilton, Danbury home for Stamford, Central at Greenwich, New Canaan at Portland, that's upstate, not Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon, Portland, Connecticut, Ward and Ludlow, Darien at Norwalk, Ridgefield at Trumbull. Hey, that's going to be right here on the HAN Network, 7 o'clock tonight. Girls gymnastics, Staples at West Hill, and finally, boys swimming and diving, it's Trumbull at Greenwich, Ridgefield home for Darien, the Fairfield Co-op at Staples, and Danbury at McMahon, Norwalk. Lots of stuff to get to. We'll have the wrestling, as I said, at 7. We'll have Nutmeg Sports with some things to talk about there. Dave Stewart will join me for that show. That's at 2. But for now, with sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, we're going to step out for a break. When we come back, we're going to hear Jim Cameron's transportation predictions for 2016. So keep watching. We'll be back after this.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
In Pound Ridge since 1993, the Wine Connection is one of America's best wine shops. Visit our beautiful store for the greatest in wine and knowledgeable service. With wonderful values from around the world to collectibles for your cellar, we are your one-stop source. Visit our online shop at wineconn.com and make sure to sign up for email updates. With great offers, new arrivals, and special events, don't miss all the action at the Wine Connection, including tastings every weekend. The Wine Connection, located at 32 Westchester Avenue, Pound Ridge, New York.
Find over 1,000 special stories at Hospital for Special Surgery. Go to hss.edu/backinthegame.
I was jogging 5 months after my cartilage tear.
Skiing a year after hip surgery.
And playing grandma 4 weeks after hip replacement.
One special hospital, 1,000 special stories. See Connecticut patients at hss.edu/CT.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
You are watching the HAN network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Everybody does year in review stories, but rather than dwell on the past, I've got the guts to predict the future. Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation, commentary and analysis on getting around in Connecticut. And here is what will happen in 2016 in the world of transportation. Metro North. Slowly but surely, this railroad is going to dig itself out of the trench of quagmire that it's been in since the Bridgeport, Spoitendievel, and Valhalla crashes. On-time performance will hold strong even through the winter, thanks to the dependable new M8 cars and pretty much milder weather. Ridership will continue to climb. That will cause further crowding and, in some cases, standing room-only conditions on rush hour trains. The Stamford Garage. Well, after waiting for its chosen developer and Governor's Malloy campaign contributor, JHN Group, to sign a contract for 2.5 years, after being tapped for this massive TOD project, the Department of Transportation, I predict, will pull the plug on the deal and replace the old parking garage on its own with taxpayer money. Tolls and taxes. Governor Malloy's quest for $100 billion to pay for his 30-year transportation plan will prove universally unpopular when his Transportation Funding Task Force finally issues its recommendations, originally due after Labor Day, when that report comes out sometime in January. I predict the panel will call for higher gasoline and sales taxes, tolls, motor vehicle fees, and a slew of other unpopular ideas. The legislature will react by slashing the governor's unrealistic plans, reluctant to have its fingerprints on anything the task force suggests. Eminent domain. Governor Malloy will try again, I predict, to impose state control over transit-oriented development, reintroducing his stealth bill to create a Transit Corridor Development Agency, all of whose members he would get to appoint, with the power to seize any land within a quarter mile of a railroad station by eminent domain. Flying. Returning to profitability, the airlines, I predict, will continue to squeeze more seats onto fewer flights, making flying a true ordeal. Frequent flyer rewards will be harder to get, as desperate passengers will actually pay to ride in business or first class, leaving fewer seats for upgrades. Amtrak. Acela will become increasingly popular, allowing the railroad to raise business fares. Last-minute seats will be harder to get, but the railroad will still refuse to expand service by buying new rail cars for the Acela fleet. Traditional Northeast Corridor trains, however, will still be jammed as the railroad tries to compete with discount bus carriers. Highways. With an improving economy and inadequate rail station parking, still, people will jam I-95 and the Merritt Parkway in even larger numbers, increasing commuting times even further. Gasoline prices will continue to decline thanks to cheap oil, sending even more people out onto the roads. Uber and Lyft. State and city authorities, I predict, will come down hard on car services like Uber, imposing on them the same regulations and taxes now borne by taxis and limousines. After leveling the playing ground, so to speak, Uber-type services will have to raise fares, passing those costs on to passengers. Will all of my predictions come true? Well, check back in a year and we'll see. Meantime, happy traveling in 2016. I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
Some great insight, as always, from Jim Cameron. But getting back to a little more news today, you might have noticed that Girl Scouts throughout Connecticut are now taking orders for cookies. The Girl Scout Cookie Program is the largest girl-led entrepreneurial business in the world. Just last year, nearly 160,000 Girl Scouts experienced an update to the Girl Scout Cookie Program, Digital Cookie 1.0, an online cookie selling platform. Girl Scouts of Connecticut were among the 5 top councils in the nation for total boxes sold. This year, Digital Cookie has been enhanced to a more robust and hands-on learning experience for the girls. Digital Cookie 2.0 will include an enhanced cookie website with quizzes, games, videos, and other activities that offer girls opportunities to learn budgeting and resource allocation using a spend, save, and give model. Girls will also become familiar with business and sales concepts, explore impactful and philanthropic ways to invest their cookie earnings, learn about internet safety, and more. And Rob, I know in this office we have plenty of Girl Scout cookies floating around right now.
We have plenty of Girl Scout cookies, Kate, and we have plenty of cookie monsters that come through this building.
What's your favorite?
Oh boy, Thin Mint. I'm not a cookie nut. Somehow my son is.
Right.
Sean is the cookie monster in the family, and he tends to go for the Thin Mints. I tend to be more of a sugar cookie eater if there's one.
Nice.
So that's,
yeah, I'm Thin Mints. I'm with Sean.
Yeah, that's my dangerous one. So, in any event, you want one more look at weather?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Sunny and high near 39 today, so we're warming up a bit, but the wind chill values, Kate, are staying low. 20 to 30 is exactly the range we'll be in, with a wind from 6 to 8 out of the southwest. Mostly clear tonight, low 20. For Thursday, sunny and 42, but again, the wind chill value is going to stay low between 20 and 30. Now, you would figure there'd be a wind into that wind chill. Well, it's light and variable wind. It's not that bad. Thursday night, low 23. Friday, mostly sunny, high near 41. Friday night, chance of rain and sleet mainly after 10 Friday night. So everybody get home safe. Mostly cloudy, low 34. So again, temperatures hovering around freezing. That's where the precipitation can be an issue. To the weekend, light rain Saturday, mostly cloudy and 44. Rain likely Sunday, 53 for the high, and then back to things on Monday, mostly sunny, a high near 40. Around the region right now, fairly steady temperatures in the high 20s and the low 30s, so let's keep it right there. Have yourselves a warm one, and I'll see you for Nutmeg Sports at 2.
All right, Rob, thank you. As Rob said, Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2, and the HAN Network brings you wrestling tonight in Trumbull. That's at 7. And, of course, your coffee break will be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.